Bulldogs 20 over St George 18. A little bit of controversy about that. Flano's not happy, but Hoops, before we get to that match, you have some breaking news that you'd like to share that has just come across your table.
Yeah, look, just out at that game last night, and obviously congratulations to the Bulldogs. It was an epic victory. And Lockie Galvin, what a storyline he has become now, throwing that clutch pass for Jethro to score the match-winning try. But off the back of that, this morning my phone started to go, and people who were attending the game had spotted West Tigers star fullback Jahream Bula sitting in the Bulldogs members section of the crowd. Now, he was sitting with his agent, who is a lighter weight bloke in terms of the game called Adam Brame. But we all know the agent who is really pulling the strings for Jahream Bula now is Isaac Moses. Now, that should set off immediate alarm bells for West Tigers members and fans, because Isaac was the bloke who obviously dropped a bombshell at the club mid-season and manoeuvred Lockie Galvin's exit to Canterbury Bankstown. And Jahream, in fairness, he's great mates with Galvin, and he was there to support his mate. It's not the first time that he's gone to one of Lockie's games for Canterbury Bankstown. He also went and watched him when he debuted against Parramatta 6 weeks ago. But the optics of it aren't great for West Tigers fans.
He's playing today at 2 o'clock.
He's not playing good.
No, he's not playing today.
He's injured at the moment.
He's out at the moment.
Roover's back there, but it's still not a great look.
It's not.
It's certainly not a great look. I mean, Isaac was up here last night.
Because every game is live.
Yeah.
So you can sit at home, you can go somewhere, you can go to a restaurant, you can go to a pub, you can sit on your own lounge and watch your best mate and text him and say, well done, congratulations. I just think if you're playing for another organisation, I think it's just something that would leave a bad taste in my mouth.
How many more years has he got at the West Tigers, Hoops? Can he start? When is he free of the West Tigers? Is it next year or the year after?
This is critical, Dobbo, and this is where it does get really interesting, is Bulla's current contract goes until the end of next season, 2026. Then there are options both ways. There's an option in the West Tigers' favour that the Tigers can trigger by April next year, which means he's contracted for 2027 on $900,000. If the Tigers opt not to go down that road, then Jahream also has an option in his favour. That would be at $800,000. But the real concern and the real fly in the ointment around all of it is that Isaac didn't negotiate this deal. Isaac has only recently taken over
Sammy
looking
did it.
after. Yep. Sammy and his young bloke, Liam Ayub, who now works at the Bulldogs. And the Bulldogs have done nothing wrong here. I want to point that out. I want to stipulate that.
Bulldogs have done nothing wrong.
No. But for West Tigers members and fans, it is a major concern that one of their star players is sitting in the members section at a core stadium watching a Canterbury game next to his agent, surrounded by families of the Bulldogs players, given everything that we've seen unfold with Lockie Galvin over the last couple of months.
Why does he need to be with his agent? Like, I mean, you can go. I can understand if he's mates with Galvin and Galvin says, "Listen, I'm going to get you a couple of seats," and it's with that in that area.
Because that comes down to experience, right? Yeah. So I've got an agent, and I've had one for 30 years. I don't think we've ever sat at a game of footy together.
Yeah, right.
I don't think I've seen him face to face in 2 years.
Dobbo, I haven't got too many problems with a footballer going to watch his mate Galvin play. Now,
me neither.
I've seen Zach Lomax back at St George a few times this year, just watching them. But look, where the alarm bells go off for me is that Isaac Moses is really his manager, and the guy he was with last night works for Isaac Moses. There's that long history there with the West Tigers. Galvin, Woods, Tedesco, Moses, he dragged them all out of the club. He's got Adam Dewey now, who won't be there next year. And Jahream Bula is a very, very good football player. Mind you, I think he's getting well paid at the West Tigers. Where Canterbury are going to find $800K from?
He won't get that anywhere else, Buzz.
No, you're spot on, Buzz, in relation that the Dogs haven't got a spare million to spend, but just the optics of it, given the Isaac factor and given his apparent loathing of West Tigers and his attitude towards the club, it's a concern. And also that Isaac doesn't make a cent out of Jahream Bula's current contract. Now, there was an article that appeared recently in Fairfax Media where it said that, Isaac had been seeking expressions of interest around rival clubs already about Jahream Bula. Now, I'm told, I don't talk to Moses, but I'm told that he rang the club and denied it. Surprise, surprise. But
Again,
it's a concern.
Again, guys, this is going to have an unsettling effect on the Bulldogs. And we've seen Sexton's been relegated, lost his spot despite getting him into the top 4. You see Reid Marnie's been forced out and, you know, he was not getting 80 minutes like he used to. They cut him back to 50. He was replaced again last night. And now we're talking fullback. I'm just wondering if Connor Tracy's listening this afternoon, how he feels about it. Now, he has been so rock solid, so brilliant out the back, week in, week out for this football club. He really has.
Well,
Can I ask a couple of questions? I actually heard, and is this BS or not, that Gus didn't want to deal with Isaac.
Yeah, that was true going back probably 12 months. But then I think we had a little kiss and make up session, and they've since built a bridge and got over it, and they have.
So this is planned then. I will get this player, this player, this player.
Oh,
if you
look,
start
Gordy, you know,
roughly.
none of us can 1,000,000% say that, but obviously the fact that they have broken bread,
It looks like it.
and that they are now in
definitely
dialogue
have, mate.
again.
They caught up for a coffee not a couple of weeks before the Galvin deal was done, and they're on full talking terms now. Others have given Isaac life. Nick Politis swears he will never, ever talk to him again. And a couple of Roosters young players, a guy called Mikey Nasser, very, very good pathways fullback, has gone to the Bulldogs only for the fact that Politis will not deal with Isaac Moses. But Gus has seen the importance of getting Lachlan Galvin on board. We saw what he's capable of last night, so he decided to patch things up.
Big news, and obviously that'll be discussed about. Let's talk about last night.
I'll just make one point just before we move on, Dobbo, just in relation to Buzz raised Connor Tracy, and he has been superb. But they've got Connor signed Canterbury, and they are at pains to point that out. And they've also signed young Cade Dykes, Adam Dykes, his son out of the Cronulla system, who's also highly regarded. I know he's had some bad injuries, but they've also signed him as well for next season. So from a Canterbury point of view, that needs to be pointed out.
Yeah,
I just hope the West Bulldogs activate that contract and make him stay regardless, Isaac doesn't. West Tigers and that he doesn't get a cent. That Isaac won't get a cent out of this deal.
The other West Bulldogs, they play
AFL. Sorry,
yeah,
I was thinking Bulldogs West.
Yeah, no,
they merged them together.
This
I know what it is. It's the
show.
greatest game of all. It's rugby league.
They're supposed to be your side, Ben. The Bulldogs are supposed to be your side.
For the AFL.
It's a loose carry. That's all right.
Who is your side, Dobber?
He's got about 6.
You must have a team.
I'm a lover of the game,
well,
mate.
You're a New South Wales guy, so I'd have to be one of the Sydney club.
No, it's not. I like the Bulldogs a lot, and the Titans and the Dolphins.
Weren't
and the
you
Cowboys
raised in Mossman? Aren't you an old North Sydney Bears man?
The Broncos.
I mean, seriously, Buzz, that's starting to get boring, that
No,
narrative.
it's not.
Yes, it is.
No,
Let's talk about the Bulldogs last night over the Dragons. 20 points to 18. You talked about poor Toby Sexton. Well, Galvin,
you've got to get your head around rugby league. You went to the rugby union last night. You said it was one of the greatest afternoons of your life, right?
I'm going to talk
You've
about
got
that.
to get
Just
over
save
that.
it.
Listen,
Save it.
get over it and get back to rugby league, right?
Can you just save it till I call BS because they're in the headlights.
Mate, I'm calling on you now.
One of the big talking points has been Toby Sexton. We all know that. And Lachlan Galvin has been anointed now the number 7. And he delivered. Here's Dan Ganane's call of the match-winning try that sealed the Bulldogs' victory last night.
Now it's Hayward on to Salmon. Here's Galvin on the left. Galvin's pass. Ribakama! Yes! Ribakama is over! You wouldn't believe it. The kid in number 7. He comes up with the biggest play in the game.
2 minutes left. They went to the left-hand side, and it was all Galvin. It was beautiful, and it was a confidence. He scored a try earlier on in the night. He played very well, and I heard Cameron Serrato in the press conference. He was, absolutely praised him and was very happy with him. This is the 7 now moving forward, and I'll start with you, Buzz. Do you think that now this proves some of the doubters wrong, and that they have got this right?
Not quite yet. And look, I don't want to be party poop because it was a brave pass. It was a great pass. It landed on the winger's chest, and it was the difference between winning and losing. Having said that, you look at the overall game, I didn't think Canterbury played well. I thought St George were actually robbed. I thought Flano was entitled to blow up, and I know we're going to listen to his press conference a little while, but I thought St George were the better side. Their Carraz. That play the ball was seriously a disgrace. For the bunker to overturn a referee who was right in front of it when it happened is wrong. Galvin did play well, though. I can't take that. But I am going to raise right here and now what Toby Sexton did in New South Wales Cup yesterday.
18 points, wasn't it?
Yeah, 18 points. But, they won 58-10 against Manly, and he was playing 5'8" outside Mitchell Woods. Interestingly, Canterbury lost their 3 previous reserve grade games. They were beaten last week 50-0 by the North Sydney Bears. So for him to slot into that side, beaten 50-0, play a key role in the 58.10 scoreline, shows to me that Toby Sexton has not yet put his cue in the rack. And if anything is to happen to Lachlan Galvin or any of their halves injury-wise, he'll be there willing and able to come into that side.
Well, that's great news, isn't it? That Sexton goes back. And that's what you want as an organisation, right, is not to throw the toys out of the cot, to go back there and, no one likes being put in reserve grade, and but to go back there and play the way that he did and just keep the pressure on the guys above him and just letting the coaches know, hey, guys, I'm not going to drop my bottom lip and thank you for the opportunity, but I'm going to keep on going, and if you need me, well, I'm still here.
You talked about that decision in the game, what Shane Flanagan was upset about. Here's Shane Flanagan in his post-match interview.
The game was taken away from us from, I believe, wrong decisions. The Luciano Law decision was outrageous. That was 5 minutes 30 to go on their 30 or 40 line. The player never got to his feet. Ball planted on Luch. Luch doesn't have to disappear. Luch can hold his ground. He's got to get to his feet before he plants the ball. It has been the rule all year, and it cost us today. And then we go downfield from the back of that. Kick out, passes the ball, hits Sloan, and goes forward. So in the collision, that's a knock-on. Ever since 100 years, that's a knock-on. And, that was that was at the 78-minute mark. As I said, they're trying so hard. They're a good side, the Bulldogs. They compete hard. But it was, some decisions tonight that cost us 2 competition points and could cost us, opportunity to play semi-finals.
Well, I don't think they're going to play semi-finals, unfortunately. But Hoops, he's right, Shane Flanagan, in that. I mean, that has been a penalty. That has been a knock-on all year with the play the ball, like when it's that and changeover. It was poorly adjudicated in those 2 instances last night.
Yeah, I think we were all stunned when the bunker overturned it. Obviously, it was sent up as a captain's challenge given the stage of the game that it was at. And, 99 times out of 100 this season, that hasn't been a penalty to Canterbury.
And listen, I feel for the Dragons. In the 2 weeks ago, they were in the national capital against the competition leaders. They're beaten by 4 points. And they had that disgraceful decision by the touch judge when the Sloan try was disallowed for forward pass. Now, that touch judge at least has been held accountable and has been dropped to New South Wales Cup for the rest of the year. But in a competition this tight, with a club that isn't really a finals team, but they're on the edge of you need those close calls, and that's 2 weeks in a row. I think they've been dudded.
Yeah, they have been hard done by, Buzz, but at the same time, there's also a lot of football that goes on over the course of 80 minutes, and isolated incidents, yes, they're a factor. And to your point from earlier, I think you're right. I think the Dragons were the better side last night. Certainly to begin the second half, and referee Adam G gave them a number of penalties. That worked in their favour, and they were absolutely in the fight. Terrell Sloan was on fire. Jaden Sewell played outstanding. They were holding their gloves up, St George Illawarra, and they were fighting to try and keep their slim finals hopes alive. But ultimately, when it came down to it, I thought the Bulldogs have proven that Cameron Ciraldo has got that decision right. Lachlan Galvin is going to make them a better football side.
Yeah, when you say that, Herbs, I can understand what you're saying, and I can understand that Cameron is comfortable that he's made the right decision. All I want to say is, if they were against one of the more powerful outfits last night, they wouldn't have been anywhere near them on the scoreboard for the football that they played. So they've still got a long way to go. Cameron says it's week 1 of round 3 of the competition after Origin.
He's right.
They've got a long way to go if they're going to win this comp.
But it's a sign of a
well,
good side that you can be
yeah,
clunky, Gordy, and you can still find a way to win right at the end there.
Yeah, well, they're just getting the job done. They got it done in Townsville last week, and it was a bit hotter for the guys, and they go there and, like the Dragons play better. But that's what the good sides generally do. Like, they just win, and they win scrappy, and they win ugly. And you're right, Phil, for those guys to go to the next level, if they're playing in Melbourne or they're playing somewhere and a side's won 3 or 4 in a row, that's the big clash that they got to win. And the last one that they had like that was against the Raiders, and they got the job done. So
they got Manly next week, Gordy.
Yep.
It should be a sensational game.
Oh,
They played in the
Massive.
final last year.
Where's that played at?
It's at Allianz, and the awesome thing about that, Buzz, it's the 30-year reunion
Yeah,
of
yeah.
1995 when the Dogs scored one of the great upsets. Dobbo, you'd remember this. Was that the year you painted the car?
No.
Oh, that wasn't that season.
94.
Okay.
That was when Marty Bella dropped
But
the
that
ball
was
for
one of the
kickoff.
great all-time upsets when that Canterbury side, they went on a run. Where'd they finish, Buzz? Was it 8th?
Yeah, but they just kept winning
went
and
on
winning and winning. And
They went on a crazy run. They had all those players leaving.
No,
I think.
94 Raiders won. This must be the
94
this is
95.
90
This
This
is
is 95.
95.
This is
Yeah.
95, yeah.
Yeah.
They went on a crazy run. They had all those players leaving that were going to Parramatta with Super League.
Yeah.
And I think Chris Anderson took them to a pub because they'd been losing games after Jared McCracken and Jimmy Dimmick and Jason Smith had all signed to defect.
Barrett, yep.
And they locked themselves in a pub in the Canterbury Bankstown area, and they all sorted out their differences.
He
And
was
then they
very
went on a
brave.
run and beat one of the all-time Manly teams.
Yeah, they did. Terry Lamb went for 10 in the bin that day. Very brave. He tackled a bloke coming back on side illegally and did 10 in the bin. He sacrificed himself. and they
Terry
went
Lamb
on.
in big games. I think he knocked out Ellery Hanley in
two
another grand final.
2 heroic
don't
efforts.
bring that up, Gordy.
I didn't get to it early, but I had a piece from McCollum today about a dinner last week at Grappa Restaurant in Leichhardt.
Oh, let me
And
guess
there
who was
were-
there.
hosting the table was Justin Pascoe, their former CEO, and Lee Hagipantelis, their former chairman.
Yep.
There were 3 current players having dinner with them, and Wayne Bennett and his partner Dale were a couple of tables away, and they ended up having a bit of a chat there. I can assure you from people at the restaurant who overheard what was being said, it was not all that complimentary of either Benji or Shane Richardson. And that players...
Well, of course, they're not going
so
to like Richo. He's
blatantly-
running the
but-
club
yeah,
now, and they
but-
got result out of it.
No, from the players,
was
the
the
whole
players?
conversation.
Oh, you're saying the players.
Yeah, the whole conversation.
Who were the players?
Now, I'm not, look, the person who told me, Gordy,
Yep.
told me who were there, but I gave him on the condition that I wouldn't print the names, and I cannot break that confidence. He told me about the meeting. He told me what he heard at the meeting, and I'm sorry, but I've got to uphold my word to this particular person.
Do you put that in the Jahream Bula category? Going with your old boss and shit canning the club?
Yeah, I do. That's why I'm talking about, the issues that they're dealing with. What the story Hoops broke at the top of the show. 3 players with the ex-bosses, not trying to hide. They're not out in the
Well,
suburbs.
Grappa's Rugby League Central.
They're not in a little Chinese restaurant getting a sneaky feed. Whenever you go to Grappa, you get seen by
They
rugby
should have
league
put a
people.
hoodie and a mask
Charlie,
on. walk in.
the owner, is a rugby league tragic, would never give anyone up, but it's a fact. Wherever you go there, you know you're going to be spotted.
Yeah, look, the only thing I'd say with respect to Justin Pascoe and Lee Hagipantelis, Lee, terrific bloke, highly intelligent operator in terms of being a self-made multi-millionaire. He's had a lot of success in business and he does a very good job with Bryden's lawyers. Pascoe was a dunce, mate. He failed and the Tigers needed to get him out of there. Richo's got far more skin in the game than Pascoe will ever have, and Richo is far better served as the boss of that club calling the shots at the moment
But did
than when
I,
they had that
you've
Pelican,
come out and
Donald
said he's
Pascoe
a
there.
dunce. You've come out and said he's a dunce.
Well, he was.
Right?
Look at the results when he was there.
Well, yeah, the
And
results
and
weren't,
there was-
the results weren't great. I will say this. I will say this since Richo's come in. I don't think it's improved a lot, okay? Now, Pascoe at least hired Scott Fulton. And I don't want to turn this into a, West Tigers inquiry. But he brought those 3 Fainu brothers across.
Yeah.
The only decent signings outside of Jahream Bula they've made. That's all.
Happy Coruscant.
Opie Coruscant was already there. He was there when Richo arrived. Richo comes in and sacks the one hope of the side, who was bringing in good players. Was about the claims he could have got Ola Kawadu to the club.
Hang on. If we're going to unpack it all, let's unpack it all. Because Benji and Scott had a massive stink, didn't see eye to eye, and could no longer work together. But you've called a bloke a dunce, and they've showed no improvement since they left. Pascoe was a dunce, and you'll never get me to change on that.
That's your opinion.
Yeah, well, I think it's a widespread opinion. If you go out and talk to anyone on the hill at the Leichhardt today, I think you'll find most fans are happy to see the back of Justin Pascoe.
You're sounding like Dobbo. I'll have to run every column item by you before I print them.
Oh, please.
No,
fair,
Buzz, I'm confident you get it right, mate. In you we trust. You don't have to tell me the articles, mate. I trust you, brother. You know.
Oh, well, we're leaking 3/4 of them anyway, Dobbo.
What about I do a spotted and he's putting it as dunce.
What's wrong with that? I'm just giving you my honest opinion, Phil. Yeah. You're having your opinion and I'm having mine.
But I don't necessarily agree with everything you say.
Yeah, that's cool. That's life.
Yeah.